This is an overview of Joe Biden's presidential candidacy. Aside from him telling random people to vote for somebody else, the Ukraine scandal involving Hunter Biden, the following should clarify Joe Biden's positions on various issues briefly. First of all, we shouldn't discriminate between people or even presidential candidates on the basis on age. We shouldn't consider a candidate unfit to run for presidency because they are too old for the position. If their strategies and policies that they're running by or running to implement are solid, then there really is no reason to dismiss them because of their age. On healthcare, he is like many of the other Democratic candidates calling for a public option. Biden may be a staunch defender of Obamacare, and thus doesn't favor a serious overhaul of the healthcare system like Medicare for All, which is embraced by more progressive candidates. Instead, he supports a government-run public option that might compete with private insurance, almost like what Obama and lots of Democrats attempted to figure into the Affordable Care Act, but couldn't pass within the final bill. The problem with the public option is that it does not make all people pay for Medicare for All exclusively, making Medicare for All lacking in the funding that is necessary to keep it running at its full potential, leading to Medicare for All or the public option becoming useless and underfunded. So it should be either Medicare for All exclusively, that is, a single-payer healthcare system, or just not attempting a public healthcare system in the first place. This criticism applies to all candidates who claim that Medicare for All, who want it, is a good idea, or is the wise compromise to be made, concerning the issue of healthcare. Biden often emphasizes his connection to former President Barack Obama, who remains very fashionable among Democrats, on the campaign trail. It is good to know that Joe Biden declared his top legislative priority was passing the Equality Act. He also attacked Donald Trump for banning transgender troops in the U.S. military, allowing individuals in the medical field to deny treating LGBTQ individuals, and allowing homeless shelters to deny transgender occupants. Joe Biden said on Twitter, "It's time we restore the great American middle class that built this country. It starts with making $15 minimum wage the law of the land, ensuring health care is a right not a privilege, and creating a tax code that rewards work, not just wealth." Nevertheless, Joe Biden doesn't support a wealth tax. On the other hand, Sanders, Warren, and Mayor Pete have all backed such a tax. Like most 2020 Democrats, Biden has been critical of Trump's handling of climate issues, specifically his withdrawal from the Paris Climate Agreement. In a September town hall about climate change on CNN, Biden said Trump is dead wrong on basically everything across the board, regarding climate. "We've got to start choosing science over fantasy here." The Biden campaign also released a $1.7 trillion climate plan, over 10 years, which sets a goal of net zero carbon emissions for us by 2050. That's approximately half what Warren's plan would cost, and about 1/10 of the worth for Sanders' climate plan. Biden has said he supports the concept of the Green New Deal, a non-binding resolution introduced by Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The resolution seeks to mobilize the federal government in the fight against climate change, while achieving ambitious social justice goals. On his campaign website, Biden also refers to climate change as a national security threat, and promises to fight polluters who disproportionately harm communities of color, and low-income communities. Biden also wouldn't ban fracking, a controversial method of extracting underground gas reserves, another contrast with Warren and Sanders. Biden told the CNN, he did not support decriminalizing undocumented border crossing into the United States, a position that puts him at odds with many of his 2020 Democratic rivals, saying that such irregular entry should remain criminal offenses, instead of civil. He's also against building the Trump wall. Additionally, he supports a pathway to citizenship for illegal immigrants, and says he would continue Obama's policy of addressing the basis causes that push desperate people to escape their homes, within the first place, by giving aid to countries, including El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras. Biden supports decriminalization, but not legalization, of recreational cannabis usage. Biden believes no one should be in jail because of cannabis use. As president, he says he would decriminalize cannabis use and automatically expunge prior convictions. He supports the legalization of cannabis for medical purposes, leaving decisions regarding legalization for recreational use up to the states, and reschedule cannabis as a Schedule II drug, so researchers can study its positive and negative impacts. Every other top-tier Democratic presidential candidate supports full federal legalization of cannabis. On Twitter, Joe Biden released a statement that specifies where he stands on marijuana laws, which says, "No one should be in jail for marijuana use. Decriminalize recreational marijuana use, and automatically expunge prior convictions. Legalize medical marijuana. Allow states to legalize recreational marijuana. Reschedule marijuana so researchers can study its health impacts." Concerning the issue of defeating Trump, most Democrats prize electability above all else, which is an issue that remains as an obstacle that stands between Joe Biden and winning the general presidential elections of 2020, regardless of all that was previously discussed here in this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel.